Folks, they're not booing. No, 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 no. Get that idea out of your damn mind. They're Krueger, baby. Larry Krueger, Cyrus Satsas. Every Wednesday at noon, we're coming to you. Let's talk Warriors. Larry, you ready, brother?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
That is it for us today, and we will leave you with I can't do it. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. And things suck. Woo! Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. Cause I get what I want and I like what I see.
Oh, here we go. That's the build up. Time to pump you up. Larry Krueger. Yes, you can follow Larry Krueger on all social media platforms at Sports Larry K. It's that easy. Larry, read off your sponsors, man. Make me hungry as you always do. Take it away, sir.
Well, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in our description. Use the promo code KRUEG, K-R-U-E-G, and they'll match you up to your first $100. And thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, you can find them at 205 Cypress Avenue down in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. Give my friend Anthony Catania a call down there for all your sports cards and collectible needs. He's at 831-521-5264.
Yes, the underdog thing, and the premise of underdog is basically you're betting on individuals, right? It's daily fantasy made easy. Is that fair? Is that accurate?
That is fair.
So can you bet on the Olympics? Because we actually had a preliminary game this morning. I guess we can start off with that. Did you watch it?
You talking about USA, Australia, that thing?
Serbia. They played Serbia.
Oh, okay. No, I watched the Australia match or game. Yeah.
Well, in all these games, I don't see any fanfare leading up to it. I feel like they're failing miserably when it comes to marketing these things, because I usually wake up and I'm learning about these things on the fly from social media. Like Steph Curry just hit a 4-point play. I'm like, wait, what? I'm looking at my phone, waking up going, when did he do this? Oh, it's happening right now. And so I turn on to FS1 and watch them kick Serbia's ass. But the reason why I brought up underdog, Larry, is I'm wondering, can you bet on the Olympic play? Like, can I bet on an over-under of or more than less than of Stephen Curry, for example, scoring 20 points in an Olympic game? Is that option available? Do you know?
I don't believe so, but I'm not sure.
That's one of the fun things about underdog. And again, pig in the pickle, brother, before you talk about, the business at hand, dude, what is your favorite plate there? And when the hell are we going to meet up so we can eat some of that?
Well,
delicious?
I mean, first of all, barbecue is just very, very rich. I mean, it really depends on what I'm in the mood for. I mean, the barbecue chicken is amazing. They have an incredible rub that they put on their barbecue chicken. The barbecue, the pulled pork. I mean, you can see the smoke rings. I mean, they smoke the pulled pork. It's incredibly juicy. The pulled pork sandwich is amazing with some barbecue sauce. But for me, I kind of like, I usually go with a cup of the brisket chili, which is basically just gigantic pieces of brisket thrown into a spicy chili. So that's an amazing thing. But then the brisket sandwich is spectacular as well with the barbecue sauce. I usually go potato salad. They got a phenomenal potato salad.
God damn it!
My kids go with the white. Kids go with the white cheddar mac and cheese. My wife usually likes like a salad, like a chicken salad. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, fantastic. Pig in a pickle, you can't beat it.
Bravo. I got to try that at some point. I have not touched that yet. And got to give some love real fast as well to Bet Online. That is the official sponsor of Golden Days. Bet Online is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season, whether it's baseball, golf, soccer. I don't doubt you can bet on Olympic action. I have no clue what the spread was today on Team USA versus Serbia. My guess would be 15 to 20, somewhere in that range, and they probably covered every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action and use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. Larry Krueger, I love you, man. I love the fact that we're doing this every week, every Wednesday at noon. I don't know, Kyle McKierman, by the way, mentioning drank a couple beers with you at Pig and Pickle during a Cardinals game with your family. Is this sound familiar to you?
No. Yes, I did. We had a meet and greet for the Krug Show Army at Pig and a Pickle, and we did it during the Niners Cardinals game late in the year. I think it was right around Christmas time. It was I think like December 17th or something like that. Niners Cardinals from Arizona, and we did a meet and greet at Pig and a Pickle, and I would say 35 to 50, somewhere in that neighborhood of people showed up and hung out with us all afternoon, had some incredible barbecue, hung around at Pig and a Pickle and watched the Niners Cardinals, and then it was a good day, really a fantastic day. It was great meeting those people, and Kyle came down, I think, from Chico. He's a great dude, and there's all kinds of good Krug Show fans who showed up, and we had a good time, man. And we're gonna do that a couple times. You know, Damon Bruce has got his Plus Mania, and he's having another meet and greet.
Are you going?
Yeah, it's Sunday, July the 28th at 1:00 at the Dubliner is the next Plus Mania. So I'll be there. I'll be there for that. And those are good. You know, those are good times. I mean, anytime you can go out and have a few pops and, you know, talk to people who are digesting your content and are digging it and are, you know, big fans of the show, it's cool. And it makes you feel good. It also kind of it's a great way to find out, like, you know, these are kind of like your foot soldiers. You know, these are like the people on the ground who are like your biggest fans. And it's just really cool. You know me, man. I love sports. I love talking sports, and I love talking to people. And
same.
You know, so you get an event where we're like gathering at some venue, and we're, you know, drink and have a few drinks and watch some games and talk some sports. I mean, come on, man. It's hard to beat that.
Absolutely, dude. I'll be there as well for the Plus Mania at the Dubliner. I already told Damon Bruce, line up some of those Irish car bombs for me. I haven't done one of those in like 15 years. I'm down, man. Put a shot in that Guinness and let's pound, baby. I'm going to hold you to one of those as well. If I'm going to do one, Larry, I'm going to make you do one with me. And your son, Kevin, is coming back from Europe. Sorry, Go ahead.
No, we're fired up. Kev's coming back from Europe, and he's going to be doing a number of things. He's working with Ethan Sherwood Strauss on his channel. He's working with Borna.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
You know, just trying to, you know, Ethan's big on his like kind of like Patreon type situation with what's it called? The Substack. Yeah. But he's just getting into YouTube and trying to grow his platform on YouTube, and Kev's helping him out with it.
Oh, crazy. Well, good for him, man. I hope he's making some good money doing that. That's incredible. I don't want to promote it too much because I feel like that's a direct competition, but good for Kevin. And Strauss, known, I think he's most prominent for Kevin Durant calling him out in that press conference back in 2019, pointing the finger at him as the media that he wasn't happy with. And look, he milked it for every penny. Strauss has got that book and he's got the Substack thing. So good for him. And again, I'll be there July 28th as well. But Pig and a Pickle is what my focus is, man. I want to try some of that barbecue and brisket soon. But let's talk Warriors, dude. I want to show you, Larry, the thumbnail I made for today's show. Part of the whole modern era with digital media is every time you publish one of these things, at least on YouTube, you got to produce a thumbnail, right? You got to add a visual to highlight what your show is going to encompass for the day. And this is the one I made for mine. If I can find it, here it is. Sorry to hoard the entire screen there, but I labeled my thumbnail today a backcourt logjam. And this picture shows the Warriors backcourt. Steph Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Brandon Podziemski.
Oh, wait. Can I try to name all these guys?
Please do. Take it away.
All right. So left to right, that looks like Podziemski on the far left.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm pretty good. I'm 1 for 1. Then atop of Steph's, then there's Steph in front. I can recognize Steph for sure. And then there's Lindy Waters behind Steph. And then to Lindy Waters' side, he's got Podziemski on his right side. On his left side, he's got Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, which is the one stretch on this graphic. But look, Wiggins, before he came to the Warriors, was a shooting guard.
Right.
And that's his natural position. But you can argue maybe that was a stretch putting him in here, but I still did. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Wiggs, in front of Wiggs, is Anthony Melton.
Yes.
Okay, next to Wiggs is Buddy Hield with the headband.
Mm-hmm.
Moses Moody's in the front.
Mm-hmm.
GP2's in the back.
Uh-huh.
I see you and I over on the side. Right beneath me, I'm going to say Reese Beekman.
Oh, bravo. If I had a winner sound effect, I'd play that right now, but I don't.
Reese Beekman for the win.
You won, sir. I don't have. Yeah, I got to get a sound effect for that because all I have for sound effects is Zal.
Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh.
Yeah, that's the closest. I have nothing to celebrate your victory, but you named them all correctly. And the number there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. An NBA roster can have up to 15 in terms of the total amount of players. The Warriors have, I believe, 14 if you count Quentin Post. So they still have room for one more, but they usually don't add a 15th. NBA teams don't have to. And the one person that really sticks out to me in that graphic, man, and first of all, that graphic to me is all the indication I need to know that the Warriors have another move coming because it makes no damn sense to have that many guards on your roster. But the player that sticks out to me, Larry, and I'd love to focus on this to start if you're okay with doing so, is Moses Moody, man. This is a player entering year 4. This is a player who was a lottery pick in one of the deepest drafts in NBA history. He was selected right after Chris Duarte, who, as you've mentioned repeatedly, accurately so, that's who Joe Lacob wanted. His poker face was revealed in that draft room. He expressed clear disdain at the fact that Duarte was taken a pick ahead by the
which just shows again that Joe's a fan, but Joe doesn't know anything. Let's be honest. You can't say it on their radio station, but I can say it here. So Joe's a fan. Joe's a good fan, but Joe's a fan. Joe doesn't know anything. So he badly wanted Duarte instead of Moses Moody. If that draft were held today, would Moses Moody go in front of Duarte? I think he probably would. He's younger. Probably got a little bit more upside.
Obviously, I think in hindsight, be picked, right? If
What's
they had
that?
to do it, Albert Sengun would be the pick, though. If they had,
Sengun would be gone. No, in the redraft, Sengun's not there.
That's fair.
I was hoping for Sengun. I was jumping up and down for Sengun.
Yes, you were.
But they didn't see the brilliance of Sengun, and Sengun's game's ugly. Sengun has got an 80s back to the basket, beneath the rim, drop step, ground game, whatever you want to call it. He's just got an old school 80s game, and it's 2024. It looks out of place. But I still would love to have him.
Absolutely, man. So Moses Moody is on the team, and he was a lottery pick. My biggest gripe, Larry, and I've found myself in recent days revisiting or re-explaining myself. To me, it makes no damn sense to have invested in 2 lottery picks only to not play them to find out for sure what you have in front of you, right? Like Jonathan Kuminga, I have no idea what he's going to become, right? My name's become synonymous with a lot of things with the Warriors. One of those is apparently I think Jonathan Kuminga is going to be the next megastar. I have no idea. I think he has tremendous potential. My entire gripe, though, is for a player picked 7th in one of the deepest drafts ever. In his 3rd year, he should not be 7th on the team in minutes played. And the more minutes he gets,
aren't they going to have to sign him to some kind of monster deal here in a minute?
Not this season. They can wait till next offseason to do that. So the good news is they can wait one more year and see what they have before they do that. But the same applies to Moses Moody. Now, Moody's eligible for much less. But my point is, what the hell are you doing investing, spending your number 14 pick on a player only to never play him? Like Moses Moody clearly is not a favorite of Steve Kerr's. I think we can deduce that. But what, in your opinion, Larry?
Well,
like, do you
I
feel
disagree. I just think that it comes right down to the fact that it's really, really, really hard for Steve Kerr to bench Klay Thompson because Klay Thompson was butthurt about it. But Moses Moody is a chill 19, 20-year-old kid, now 21, who's easygoing and respectful. And it just, he literally, if Moses Moody wasn't such a nice guy, he would have played more minutes. But the fact of the matter is, he's the easy guy. He's easy, easy like, as Lionel Richie used to say, easy like Sunday morning. I mean, he's easy. I mean, Moses is easy and he's chill. He's been 181 NBA career games, only 23 starts. It's easy to just bury him. But the fact that his minutes have only gone up just slightly. 11.7 as a rookie, 13 as a second year player, 17.5 as a third year player. Yeah, I mean, he's the Warriors' depth works against Moses Moody and his easygoing personality. And hey, man, I'll get along. I'm here to get along and make everything easy. That's why if he was a little bit more like, hey, man, I deserve my minutes up in this beast, then he probably would have gotten 20 minutes a game. But because he didn't complain, he's a great kid. He's got great ethic about him. He just said, you know what? I'll do what's best for the team. And because of that, he's the easy guy to bench.
Well, first of all, so Moody did not himself, but through his proxy, his agent, he did complain last year. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga got all the attention in publicly following that disastrous Nuggets game where Kerr benched Kuminga the entire second half, despite a great first half of play. Warriors blow that 18, 20-point lead to the Nuggets. That game was the symbol to me of Kerr's failures and that season's. It summarized that season in a nutshell. And Kuminga voices his displeasure after that. First of all, and we broke that story here the night before everyone else reported the next morning. But secondly, Moses Moody also complained, but he didn't do it himself. He did it through his agent. So he complained as well. So I agree with you in the sense that he's very mild-mannered. He didn't do it himself. But so are you saying that basically Kerr is taking advantage of his docile nature? Is that what you think this is?
I'm just saying that Kerr's greatest trait is he brings the whole group along, and he'll do whatever he needs to do to bring the whole group along. And that means, and a big part of that is how you delve out the minutes. And I think that if Moses had been more demanding of minutes, then he would have made Kerr's job harder. He was not as demanding of minutes. He made Kerr's job easier. But it doesn't mean that just because a guy doesn't demand minutes doesn't mean he doesn't deserve them. And doesn't mean that you shouldn't be giving him minutes.
Right.
He just means that he's an easygoing dude. And that's Moses. And Klay was the easygoing dude, but now he's incredibly insecure and, chasing glory days. And so so it was easy to play minutes that belong to Moses and give those minutes to Klay.
Well, it wasn't just Klay. It was also, remember, Corey Joseph was taking some minutes. I
mean, Anthony Lamb at different times.
Jesus. I mean, there's a lot. So regardless of what happened in the past, and we all know the story, and Moses Moody, I don't know what your ultimate opinion on this, Larry, is. I think he got underplayed. I think you're squandering an asset if you spend a number 14 pick on a player and don't play him. I think that's asinine, in my opinion. But regardless of what happened in the past,
and also look what they did. I mean, they didn't play Wiggins or Moody, or I should say Moody or Kuminga, the kind of minutes that they probably should have.
Yeah.
Because they were, those guys were too raw to be on this team. I mean, Kerr blew it last year. He had different standards for different guys.
Yeah.
He had, Klay Thompson could shoot the Warriors into the loss column, and he's still going to be back out there for more minutes. But Kuminga and Trace Jackson Davis and Pods and Moses, those guys had to really perform on the field every time, or they were off the court, off the floor. Not, so that was the downside of the year, is that there was it was like two timelines, and it was almost like two standards. And these guys, this team couldn't even pretend. I mean, it was an awful game plan to have. You show me any team that it's like, yeah, well, we've decided that we're going to split our team into two teams, and we're going to talk about our young team and our old team. That's a fucking disaster. And that's what the Warriors did. And these morons went to the podium night after night after night. And I'm calling them morons because it really was stupid to sit there and be like, well, I don't really think the problem's with me or Steph or Clay. I mean, that's what Draymond said. I think the problem's with the other guys. It's like, so, once again, you got two different teams, two different standards, two different rules. I mean, it didn't work. They didn't even make the playoffs
for obvious
in a league
reasons.
where everybody makes the playoffs.
For obvious reasons, it didn't work. And here we are now, man. And I'm going to show you this graphic again. And this is why I think there is a move coming. I'm going to show this graphic one more time. There are nine guards in this graphic, right? And let's say Wiggins.
I consider myself more of a small forward. Oh, you mean the other guys? You're talking about the other guys? Yeah,
the other guy. Take Wiggins out.
Take us out.
You're a 3 more than a 2. So, but looking at this picture, man, like, how does what is? I guess what I'm curious about is, let's say the Warriors stick with the current roster. To me, that is the nightmare scenario. I don't think you can finish this offseason and approach the regular season with this mess. This is a logjam. But where does Moody fit into this, man? Like, where does D'Anthony? I don't even know where D'Anthony Melton or Gary Payton II fit into this. Like I don't know where Lindy Waters fits into this. But focusing strictly on Moses Moody this upcoming season. Do you see him on this roster when the season starts? I mean, where do you see him fitting in with this mess of a backcourt?
Well, okay, so if they're as is, they've got Jackson Davis and Looney and Quentin Post at the 5. If they're as is, they've got Draymond Green, Kuminga at the 4.
Well, no, I think Kyle Anderson's more of a 4 than Kuminga. Wouldn't you agree with that, or no?
Well, I think Kuminga's a 4, but whatever. I mean, he's built. I mean, he's getting bigger and bigger. I think his game is more of a power forward game than a small forward game. But let's just say he could be a power forward or a small forward. Anderson could be a power forward or a small forward. Lauri Markkanen, if you get him, I mean, he could be.
That's a different story. Yeah,
he could be a center, a small forward, or a power forward. You also have Kevin Knox on your summer league team. You got Guy Santos.
You like him, by the way, Kevin Knox? I mean,
I do.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't love him, but I've liked what I've seen in the summer league. He's another guy. He's kind of a 3-4. He's got a little bit more offensive game than you think. He's got a little bit more fluidity than you think. I thought he looked a little stiff with the Knicks, but I kind of like the way he's looked so far in the summer league.
I feel like Kevin Knox
I would just say Moses Moody's probably your, at small forward right now. You have Wiggins and Moody and Kuminga, if you want to say Kuminga's a small forward. So, I mean, you're pretty loaded at small forward, and you also have Santos. And then in the backcourt right now, you got Hield and Melton and Payton and Curry and Lindy Waters and Pods. I mean, they're a team that this is what you have to do. I wouldn't be looking so strictly at the roster and the positioning, because right now, I mean, it's July 17th, and they're trying to still put together, pieces to the puzzle, and they're still trying to make a major trade or two, or a major addition or two. But it does kind of, they either are or they're going to be bad.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to get at. And thanks for saying that. It's either they have to make a move, because I'm looking at the landscape, Larry,
they're
right?
Not better.
Yesterday, go ahead, sir.
They're not better.
They're not. Yeah, I agree.
No, they're worse.
I agree. People who think they've upgraded, no, they've moved
the ladder.
Joe,
self-made billionaire Joe Lightyears. Joey Lightyears said, "We're better." No, you're not. No, you're not. If you're better, it's because you bought a new car and you feel good about driving to the arena. I mean, you're not better because of your basketball team. I mean, that's for sure.
I sense some disdain from you, Larry, regarding Joel Lacob. Are you just?
I don't. There's something about him that's just that's kind of annoying. Actually, it's like
Okay. Is it arrogance? Like, you think he's too smug?
Oh, he's super smug. He's super know-it-all.
Okay.
You inherited a team with Steph, and then now you're like pounding your chest like you're the greatest. Let's see what you do now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that Steph's old, now that Clay's gone, now that Draymond's old, now that Barnes is gone, now that that you inherited this team, you won all these titles. Let's see what you do. Let's see what you do here. This is who you are going forward. Yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I mean, people rip Jed all the time, Jed York. Eddie D bought a team and while he was there, they drafted Joe Montana. But what if he had bought the team in 1980? I mean, it's the Jerry Krause thing all over again. It's like nobody wants to give Jerry Krause any love. Why? Because Rod Thorne drafted Jordan. That's why. And nobody really wants to give Joe any love because Joe didn't draft Steph. Joe bought a team that drafted Steph. And Steph's the reason.
So what you're saying is Joe Lacob is not the next Eddie D, because I've been making that argument that he could be.
You're not could be.
But right now, no.
It's just premature.
Okay.
It's premature.
Yeah, that's fair. That is very fair.
Do we need to Google the Warriors draft history? Look at the Warriors draft history in recent years. I mean, they had a good year this last year. Pods and TJD, great. Patrick McCaw, miss.
Oof.
Jordan Bell, miss.
Damian
Alan
Jones.
Smailagic,
Huge miss.
Miss. Yeah. Jacob Evans, miss.
Was Jordan Poole a miss? How would you?
Jordan Poole was a hit, but then giving him $35 million a year and then trading him for a 38-year-old point guard who you basically let walk for nothing. That was a miss.
What about Kevon Looney? Kevon Looney was a hit.
Definitely a hit.
Okay,
definitely a hit. But I mean, there's a lot of misses there. There's a lot of misses, and in reality, all of the significant moves that led to the titles were done before Joe showed up for the most part. I mean, Steph is why you won those titles.
Yeah,
not Joe.
That I 100% agree with. But let me ask you this, Larry. Do you think it's fair to criticize whoever was behind these draft picks? Is it fair to criticize the front office for missing on late 20s, number 30, second round picks? Is it fair? Because I don't know of anyone who has a successful extended record of success drafting that late. Like, so is that fair? Like, do you think there's that?
I mean, you have to make it happen in the lottery when you have the picks.
Yes.
But I'm just saying there's a lot of, I mean, Joe had Jerry West and Travis Schlenk and Don Nelson and Larry Riley. He had a tremendous arsenal of personnel evaluators. And they basically moved them all aside for his kids.
Yeah, the nepotism thing I'm never going to support. Do you want to go ahead? Sorry.
Where did the Smailagic thing come from? Who the hell's Smailagic?
Well, and there's also like the who was the kid from Australia or New Zealand, Justinian Jessup, who they just kept keeping around. Nico Mannion is still, they have his rights. Yeah, there's a lot of
all these guys that nobody else thought was any good because they aren't any good. But they thought were great. So let's just see. I mean, I'm happy for Joe. I'm happy that Joe came and bought the team. I'm happy. It's not like I dislike Joe, but this, this quick jump from like, I'm an enthusiastic rich guy who's got great enthusiasm to I'm a basketball specialist. What? Why? Why? Why are you more of a basketball specialist than anybody? Where's your basketball resume? Did he play basketball? Did he coach basketball? Did he scout basketball? Or did he just make a bunch of money on cable television and bought a basketball team or whatever? I don't know what he made his money on, but he didn't make his money on basketball. And then the moves have been very hit and miss since he chased out Jerry West.
Yeah, that part sucks. And that's another thing, by the way. I'm proud to have reported exclusively here that I had a source tell me the Warriors. This is really sucks. And SG Sports Talk, we're going to come to you in a second. I posted the link if anyone wants to join Larry and I on the show. I found out, and this is such a bummer, man, that the Warriors only offered Jerry $1 million a year to stay, and the Clippers offered him $3.5 million a year. That's what it came down to, man. It wasn't even like a close negotiation. It wasn't, the Warriors weren't sitting there like matching the offer. No, the Warriors clearly showed a strong level of disrespect toward Jerry West by offering him $2.5 million less annually than the Clippers. And he was like, bye. And I don't blame him. That sucks. I think Joe deserves some credit for some criticism for that. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you can put your kids in the front office, but then, the rest of us can grade that harshly.
Yep. Agreed.
You want to put your kid in the front office, go ahead and do it. But the rest of us can then rip your kid for not knowing shit.
Absolutely right.
Because your kid is not an NBA scout. And your kid was not a general manager. Your kid is not Sam fucking Presti.
Absolutely right, man.
And just because you got a lot of fucking cake doesn't make him Sam Presti. So, you know what? I mean, it's like, of course he's going to hire his kid. He loves his kid, but it's like, nepotism. I mean, it's bad. I mean, if all of a sudden you're putting, if it's a nothing role, then fine. But if it's the ultimate role, it's not fine.
Agreed.
It's like, and don't pretend like, the other thing I can't stand is stop pretending that everybody does this. Like everybody does nepotism. You're telling me every person that owns, every owner in sports that owns a team, how many of those people that own teams, major sports franchises in America have their son as the general manager or their son as the head of personnel? Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
It is weird because Adrian Wojnarowski a few weeks back, quickly defended the Bronny James thing as nepotism is everywhere, as if that's an excuse. When
that guy's so far up LeBron's ass. Yeah. It's outrageous.
Yes.
Why? Where was the passion? Why was he so passionate about that?
Well, you know what? And Larry, just to explain to everyone else, you know why. I know why. It's because a huge source for Adrian Wojnarowski is Clutch. Like he's getting a lot of his information from Clutch.
What a self-serving motherfucker then. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what a self-serving son of a bitch.
You're on fire today.
I mean, seriously, if that's what you're gonna yell at the rest of us for saying that obvious nepotism is obvious nepotism because you're trying to maintain a source.
Yeah.
Because you can maintain a source, we all have to shut the fuck up.
No, that was ridiculous. No, you're absolutely right. And Larry, I'm coming to the realization, and maybe I'm coming to this way too late, that a huge reason why there is so much incompetency in NBA front offices and coaching is because of the nepotism. It's so different than the very root of DNA and genealogy, how you don't want brothers and sisters mating because it's going to produce some freakish kids. Nepotism in business is going to result in a yes man culture. It's going to result in not the best candidates reaching the highest levels of success and positions of power. And you get incompetency as a result of that. It's by the way, I do want to highlight this just because there is truth to it. It's not an excuse, but Woodpit 420 mentions that one of them played college basketball, and that's true. I think Kirk Lacob played for Stanford as a walk-on. So that doesn't excuse a thing. But at least at a bare minimum, one of the kids knows the game a little bit because he played it. So a little reassurance there. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I went to a 5-star restaurant last night. I know dining. Doesn't mean I'm one of the great chefs of Europe.
Now you are. No, you're a 3-star chef now, Larry.
It's just ridiculous. And it's like if LeBron and the Lakers want to have obvious, blatant, over-the-top nepotism and draft an NBA player that's 5'10" and can't play and doesn't deserve a shot, that's on them, and it's bad because somebody who does deserve a shot is not getting that shot. But don't start lecturing the rest of us because we noticed that it was blatant nepotism. Like, it's like, and Joe, I don't want to hear about nepotism. What?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, man.
Sorry. Don't practice blatant nepotism and when the rest of us won't notice. I mean, But once again, when you put people that don't deserve to be in a spot, they show you over time that they don't deserve to be there. And look at the draft choices that the Warriors organization has had since they've put Joe's kids in the front office. They've missed more than they've hit. And that's not good.
No, you're absolutely right, man.
You know,
do you want to hear from SG Sports Talk? Do you want to get a fresh perspective? Let's hear. Are you ready, SG? Are you in the house? Do you want to? Are you?
Larry, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channels. I love all your content.
Appreciate you, man. Who is this?
This is SG. This is SG Sports Talk.
Yeah, I know that's your handle, but that's not your name.
My name is Shardal.
Shardal, that's it. I knew it was Shardal.
How you doing,
Shardal?
Larry?
What's going on, man? How are you?
How's your day going?
Oh, it's going great, man.
It's great that you joined Cyrus because you got a lot of insight on the Warriors.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
What were your thoughts on the Team USA 105-79 defeat over Serbia? Steph Curry went absolutely on fire. 24 points, 6 of 9 from 3.
I didn't watch it, but I mean, this is I'm glad we're 3-0. I'm glad we're routing Serbia. But I didn't see it. What time was that game? It was in Abu Dhabi, wasn't it?
It was in Abu Dhabi, which is great. The crowd was out of control, which was really fun to see. But this was the first game where Team USA truly showed their dominance. Like every one of these warm-up games have been close. The starting five especially has been playing some flimsy ball. Like today, man, they were awake. And LeBron James was a force. Stephen Curry hit a 4-point play, which really riled me up. I mean, that's my favorite play in all of basketball. Anytime Stephen Curry hits a 3 and is fouled in the process and he gets up, that's always important. That's my favorite play, man. So yeah, Stephen Curry hit a 4-pointer, finished with 24 points. It was awesome to see, man. I don't think the downside is, Larry, and I don't know if you want to join me for all these. I'm going to be hosting a show after every one of these Team USA games, but I'm starting to wonder if the entertainment value is going to be lacking because this Team USA squad is stacked, dude. Like,
well,
I don't know how any other team
so deep. I mean, to me, if I was coaching this USA team, I would just say, guys, just play hard. Just play hard. Just play hard. Let's not worry about anything else. Just play hard. Why? Because we're so much deeper than everybody else. Mm-hmm. The Serbian team is probably the best team they're going to play. For the gold medal. They've got experience. They've got Jokic.
France might be difficult because they got that front court of Wemby and Gobert, but
Jokic.
Right.
I mean, Jokic is on the Serbian team, and I just think that we're so deep that put our 5, and now I guess we play South Sudan next.
Yeah,
that's like Charles Barkley from the Olympics on the Dream Team. He's like, I don't know much about South Sudan. All I know is they're in trouble. He's like, I don't know much about Angola, but I know they're in trouble.
Cyrus, I'm a big fan of Team USA. And when I heard that Jaylen Brown got snubbed from the Team USA roster, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? You're going to take this guy off of the team? He's their best player. You're going to take him off the team? What are you doing? Like, what is your mindset going on right there? Like,
that's I'm glad you brought that up, Shardal, because I haven't touched on this yet, and I'm really stoked you did. I think it's a gross injustice, Larry, and I love your thoughts, man. And I guess what I'm curious about, and Larry, I want to toss it to you with this question. Do you think Steve Kerr had any influence in the decision to not include the reigning NBA Finals and Eastern Conference Finals MVP off the roster, man? I think it's borderline criminal, dude. I thought it was a gross.
Well, with all these things, you got to say it's easy to say who gets left off. You got to say who's on that deserves to be kicked off.
That's an easy one too, Larry. It's Derek White. I mean, Derek White you ask Celtics fans, who's better between Jaylen Brown and Derek White? I mean, all tell you Jaylen Brown. They'll all tell you Jaylen Brown.
The money tells us it's Jaylen Brown.
I can't believe they put Derek White on the Team USA roster and not Jaylen Brown.
Only because Derek White's a shooter.
You start taking Derek White off the roster and put Jaylen Brown on the roster. Come on, man. Like,
Easy,
come on,
Chardall.
dude.
Easy.
Like I get fired up too. Come on, Larry gets fired up too. Come on, we all get fired up sometimes. Dude,
Well,
Larry's
okay,
fired than
I'll say this.
man,
I mean, this
Larry-
is they left Shaq off the roster for Christian Laettner back in the day, and it's this is the debate. Do you want an all-star team or do you want role players? Do you want guys who are used to coming off the bench? Do you want guys who've never come off the bench? I mean, I would have taken Jaylen Brown every day of the week over Derek White, but I guess the argument, if I'm trying to understand it, is that Derek White does some things efficiently off the bench and he shoots the ball pretty well, and maybe they thought like they needed him, he'd play better in his role off the bench. I don't know. But I mean, all
Cyrus,
I'll tell you is if there was
thoughts on
100
the-
basketball GMs, they would all take Jaylen Brown over
Yeah,
Derek.
easy.
Cyrus, so what are your thoughts on the current Team USA squad? And do you think they have a chance to win gold?
Oh, pretty easily. I mean, I'm curious to know what the odds are on Team USA. I would venture to guess it's like minus 5,000 or something. They're easily going to win
huge
gold.
favorites. Yeah,
huge.
If they don't win gold, we should have a day of mourning.
Shadal, anything else that you want to talk about before we move on, brother?
I'm a big fan of your show, and it's an honor to be part of it. I loved coming on here and sharing my thoughts on the Warriors, and also listening to you guys, because you also guys have lots and lots of insight, and I love to hear about what you two guys have to say about the team moving on forward. I would love to join your show join your next show if I'm not doing anything. I really love to hop on. I love to come on here.
Love having you, man.
Chardall, have a great day, brother.
I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Great rest of your day, and hope you carry on with the show.
We absolutely will. That's Chardall.
Thank you so much.
Chardall.
There we go.
A regular on the Krug show when we did the call-in show.
You want to do some? Was he really like way back in your KNBR days or the game?
No. When we did the call-in show, Kev and I before Kev went to Europe, we were doing a Wednesday night call-in show with video calls.
Gotcha.
Chardall was one of our video callers.
Do you want to get someone else on the program? We got another listener.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's been on
absolutely.
your show before, but he's been on Golden Days before, and that's Matt Brotherton. Good to see you again. How the hell are you doing?
Are you sure you're not Kirk Lacob? You look very similar to Kirk Lacob.
I wish my bank account looked similar too. Would accept that also. But no, I appreciate having on. Pumped I'm able to carve out a little bit of time today.
Real fast, Matt, you said something which took me immediately to dreamland, and it's where the brain goes for creativity. And that's, imagine if we had Kirk Lacob's, not Joe, but even the son, if we had his bank account, how incredible would life be? I mean, what would you be doing right now if you had Kirk Lacob's, the amount of money he has in his bank account? What would you be doing if you had that amount of money?
I'd be driving around San Francisco and just getting out at every ATM and doing a balance inquiry, high-fiving people, and then jumping back in my car.
And going to the strip club, right? You got to make the strip club hit stops every now and again.
Well, it's like, you have the bar crawl. This would be it's kind of an ATM crawl, like an ATM crawl. Hey, look at that. Look at my balance inquiry. Unbelievable. Let's go. Let's go. I think there's another ATM about a mile away. Let's go.
The one time you'll never hear anyone complain about nepotism is when they're from that realm of money at the very least, when it trickles on down. So glad to be on, Larry. I know I was talking a little bit of crap with you last time about the dream team versus current team, but always fun to go into that. But I want to look back to the Warriors. One thing that was interesting, and I forget if it was you, Cy, saying it or if it was you, Larry, but I'm not going to say that we're better for this year, at least our roster right now, but I'm hoping that it's an addition by subtraction, with Klay Thompson leaving, at least from a Kerr. I think you kind of have three different parties. You have a roster construction, right? And then you have the Lacobs and, everyone who's building it out. And then you have Kerr. Kerr plays the old heads. It's what he's comfortable with. Honestly, I can't fault him too much for it. It's a unique position he's in, even if I think he's blatantly wrong. But without Klay, I'm honestly optimistic, maybe too optimistic, for where we should be going with Kuminga and with Moody and hopefully others. I mean, all the guard signing does not get me excited. Maybe we're in for another, playing just these random guys. But when you look at it from like the lens of pure, addition by subtraction here, what do you think we can be this year? Like, say we don't make any other moves. What do you think is a potential ceiling of development and realistic for these guys?
Well, it's funny you asked this question because right as you asked this, I got an email that states the Warriors over under for the season right now. Last year they opened at 48.5 wins.
That
over
line is
under.
out?
Yes, it's out.
Oh, okay. You got my attention, brother. Okay.
Yeah, last year they opened at 48.5 wins and they went under. They finished with 46 wins. This year, do you guys want to guess the Warrior over under?
Of course. Matt, go for it.
Oh, I'm going 49. I'm going 1 over.
Wow. I'm gonna go the complete opposite direction, Larry, because you always got to keep in mind, like, this line is set not necessarily on what they think the team's actually going to do, but more so on how they think the public is thinking about that team. So I'm going to go 43 based on the rest of the Western Conference as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's 43.5.
Wow.
So it's right there for, over 44 wins goes over, 43 wins goes under.
So they're over then for this year, but
5 games under where they were last year. Now the team's not fully constructed yet. And I think it's pretty safe to say, I think the three of us all believe that there will be some significant addition, whether you consider Kyle Kuzma significant or, you name it, player. I think there's some significant addition coming. I think they'll make a move or a couple of moves, but like Wiggins to me, he's got to go. I'm reading today. Now, I don't know if you want to get to this later, Cy. If you did, I apologize, but I'm reading today that Shams is saying that the Jazz are more focused on Podziemski than any other asset.
I've talked about that before. We can talk about that now.
In a potential marketing trade. And some people are saying that maybe, even though there was the report that they wanted Pods and Moody and Kuminga and picks, that maybe there could be a deal that's constructed out of Pods and picks.
Matt, is there anything else you want to touch on with us, Matt, before we continue on?
No, just wanted to hear that and appreciate the thoughts on it. I think there's definitely going to be one move that's going to be made, though. I mean, there
has to be. If there isn't, this makes no damn sense at all, man.
It's for sure happening. I am personally not holding too into the deep of the Lowry, as I also learned, Lowry marketing. At least I'm not, again, optimistic on it. Danny Ainge plays hardball. I don't see us making the best deal with Danny Ainge. I see us, him trying to rip us off. If we can do it, great. Pods has that dog in him. I don't want to give up Pods. I don't even know how much net better we are.
Really? You don't want to give up Pods for marketing?
I mean,
I would want to and would do are two different things. I don't want to give up Pods.
Yeah.
I had him on the show last year. Yeah. Bill Duffy, his agent's a good friend of mine. I love what he looks like in summer league. I love the kid's skill set, but it's a kind of a unique skill set in that he's built like a point guard, but he's not really a point guard. So he's kind of an undersized 2 who can really rebound, and he does know how to play the game. So it's a unique skill set, right? Because he knows how to play the game, that's advanced. He knows how to rebound, that's advanced. But he's not quite the marksman that his 3-point shooting percentage at Santa Clara told you he was. And he's not really an on-the-ball guy. Like if you really decided that, hey, Steph needs to be freed up in the downside of his career, and he needs to be freed up 15 minutes a night playing, off the ball. I don't know that Pods is the guy that you want to play on the ball while Steph's playing off the ball. You know what I'm saying? And I like Pods. I just don't know if he's just kind of weird. He's kind of a weird prospect.
Agreed. And I've known Lowry. So I played against Lowry in high school. So I've actually known him like before, he was like on the maps.
How tall are you, Ned?
I'm like 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
So,
and where did he play high school ball?
I played him in the AAU tournament out in Vegas. Like the big
but where was he? What part of the country was he from?
He moved out. I don't remember where he was.
He's from Finland, right?
I think
he's from Finland.
Kind of random. He moved out for high school when he was like a sophomore. So
just like Kuminga. Same with Kuminga.
Yeah, exact kind of same situation. Like, he's a baller. Like he's great. Curious how the chemistry and the fit will be going as well. Like if we're looking to win this year, I mean, every year with Steph Curry we have is, hopefully he's got a 3-4 year run rate. That could be potentially shorter. I worry about building up chemistry, with somebody like that coming in and his personality. I mean, I see Draymond just making him cry, frankly. I think he's a little personality more like a Durant than he is a Pods. And I think Pods is the guy who will go out Dre. And I think we need people like that. So again, either way, I'm good with it. Frankly, we flip him as long as we don't give up our entire future. I think it's a win. If we keep Pods, I think this guy can be incredible, in the long run too. So it's a win. So
Matt,
We'll
thank you so much, man. Come back soon, all right, brother? Please
Appreciate
do.
it. Later, guys.
Love your contributions. And I just want to add something to this, man. Larry, you mentioned that Pods hasn't been that shooter for you yet. I think a huge reason they drafted him, besides his tenacity, besides the fact that as a 6'4" guard, he rebounds like a power forward. But in his mind, he's a point guard. He's admitted that, and I'm always of the belief. My philosophy is you play players where they're most comfortable. The moment you start playing them out of position where they're not comfortable, you're not getting 100%. You're not. And I don't understand why you would ever put a player in a position where you're not going to get the absolute best outcome out of them. And Pods is a comfortable point guard, and I like him as a point guard. But I think his shooting's going to go up, man. He shot 43.8% in college. We saw he shot his last month. I got to pull this stat up again, but because it tripped me out, but it's true. He shot over 60% from beyond the arc, I think the last month of the season. His shooting is going to be something to behold. With that said, I
started slow.
I'm sorry?
He sure started slow.
He did start slow, but he finished strong. I think he finished around 38% as a three-point shooter, and that's going to go up. But the question posed was, would you trade him for Lauri Markkanen? Absolutely. I mean, if that's the player that's holding this deal up, you do that trade all day, every day, given how deep you are in your backcourt. I mean, Podziemski, you can replicate. Kuminga, not so much. Lauri Markkanen, absolutely not. Podziemski, you can find other pieces that are similar to that a hell of a lot easier than you would finding a Lauri Markkanen or like a Jonathan Kuminga.
I mean, the only thing I'd say about Matt Markkanen is that, you know, there are other guys who have height and shoot the ball. You know, I mean, they're not Markkanen. They're not all-stars. But, I mean, I've been talking up Santi Aldama. I know he's supposedly available. I mean, a lot of people think, there's other guys who, could fill
Cam
that
Johnson.
stretch five spot and give them some. Heck, maybe Quentin Post could do some of the things that Markkanen can do. One NBA trade that worked on the trade machine involving the Warriors and the Jazz. And I bring this up because I think one of the things that I don't like about this roster is it still is, especially with no Chris Paul, it's slated for Steph to just be on the ball a ton of minutes. And I just think that if you're going to give Steph a little bit of a break, you're going to want to have an ability to play him off the ball. And I think that is what would free up his energy. What do you think of this trade? Because this gives you an on-the-ball player that you could play with Steph. Podziemski, Moody, and Wiggins, and picks. And I don't know how many, but let's just say
four
Podziemski, Moody, Wiggins, and picks to Utah for Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Kenny Lofton Jr.
Sign me up.
Kenny Lofton Jr. is just kind of a throw-in. But Colin Sexton is a 25-year-old point guard who's super, super fast, super athletic, super hard to stay with. And man, I mean, it would, to me, the twilight of Steph's career, I think, is best if you can put him next to a guy who can beat people off the dribble, who's, I thought this was the downside of getting rid of Poole so fast. It's like you had this 6'3" guy who you could play next to Steph, and he was electric, and he's younger, and he could take some of the workload. Now he's gone just because you made a bad decision to pay him $35 million a year. Then you had to make another bad decision to trade him, and then you had to make another bad decision to let Chris Paul walk for nothing, and essentially you turned your unbelievable draft choice of Jordan Poole into nothing.
Yeah, that part sucks.
Literally turned it into zero.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I'm not jumping up and down saying, but Joe got great, say it, he saved money. Great. So now a self-made billionaire, has saved money. I mean, and that helps the Warriors. How? And I should give a shit about that because of what? But Sexton to me is interesting because Sexton is electric. And if you put him on the point and let him run point and run Steph off, play Steph off the ball a little bit more, now you got another big time shooter that you can, help replace Klay Thompson with, because you got Steph playing the playing the two. It would make for a smallish guard combo for sure. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't see a point guard. He's all these other guys here. I don't see anybody who can play point.
You're forgetting about D'Anthony Melton on the roster.
Is he going to be a point?
Yeah, he's a natural point guard. He's a point guard. So handling the ball is not going to be a problem. What's up?
Is he healthy?
I hope. I mean, he missed half the season last year. I mean, they gave him $13 million.
He better problems. I mean, he's a point guard with back problems.
He better be healthy because they gave him the entire mid-level exception, but he's a natural point guard. So in terms of ball handling, he should be the solution there. I would not mind Colin Sexton being added to the Lowry Markkanen thing. Going back to the article, the Shams article, and Casey Stern and I touched on this in great detail on Monday's episode of NBA Coast to Coast, which is turning out to be an awesome show, by the way, every Monday at 1 p.m. Shameless plug. But the summary that of what we discussed is this, Larry, and I'd love to get your feedback. The Shams article mentions that Utah wants Brandon Podziemski. But Shams, his reports are based entirely on what agents are telling him, right? That's his source. Is going back to what we were talking about with Wojnarowski and his ridiculous defensive nepotism, and largely because of his relationship with Clutch. Shams, that's their bread and butter, man. It's their relationships with these agents. And what I am confident in, and this is why I'm taking all of these reports with a grain of salt, is Danny Ainge and Mike Dunleavy Jr., they are not leaking information out to the public, and they're not letting player agents know what's going on with their mentality, right? So when Shams publishes these reports, again, he's basing it off the agent's perspective. So what agents are telling him is, we think Danny Ainge wants Brandon Podziemski. All I'm saying is don't take that as a fact, because I feel like every other day we see a new report where one side or the other wants something different. I'm going to wait and see. I hope Podziemski and Kuminga are both part of this when all is said and done. I'm of the very firm belief.
You hope they are?
What's up?
You hope they are?
I hope they're both not traded. I hope they both stay and Lowry Markkanen comes in. And the reason why I have a level of optimism for that end result is Danny Ainge, excuse me, Danny Ainge's entire focus right now is capture the flag. Cooper Flag is all that's on his mind, man. Danny Ainge is smart enough to know the Utah Jazz have no chance in hell this season. So the only impetus, the only motivation for this team next year is tanking for Cooper Flag. Having Lowry Markkanen on your roster hurts your chances of doing that. And bringing great players back also hurts your chances of doing that. So I don't know if he wants Brandon Podziemski. Maybe he does. But I think for Danny Ainge, his core objective is draft picks. And I think he looks at the Warriors as someone who 3-4 years from now, those draft picks are going to be very valuable, because the Warriors' core pieces, Steph and Dre, are going to be gone. And who knows what that team looks like in 3-4 years. So those Warriors first rounders.
Are these all unprotected firsts?
2 unprotected so far, and then a pick swap. But again, Danny Ainge wants 4. That's the magic number. That's what he got for Donovan Mitchell when he traded Mitchell. That's what the Knicks got for Mikal Bridges. They actually got 5, which is really crazy. So 4 first-round picks is the magic number. The Warriors can offer 2 right now. Maybe Brandon Podziemski fits one of those 4 in terms of Danny Ainge's perspective. Danny Ainge is the only one that knows that. But I'm still of the cautious optimism, Larry, and I'll turn it to you, that the Warriors can get Lowry without giving up the farm, but they got to flip Wiggins, GP2, and or Looney, depending on what assets they're throwing out there, and get back some picks so that they can then give it to Danny Ainge and end up with Lowry, Mike Lowry.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, you're saying that they need to get picks for Wiggins, but then I've also heard that they're going to have to attach picks to Wiggins.
Oh, to move him. Yeah, that's a conundrum. That's a conundrum.
So that's you can't be, obviously you can't trade Wiggins for picks if you have to include picks to get them, unless you're, unless you're trading seconds and getting firsts, something like that.
Well, and I was going to do this, and Larry, this is actually, I don't know if you're up for this exercise right now. Like, if we look at I can look at the landscape right now and give you a handful of teams, because this is what I'm curious about. Who do you think is out there who would actually take Wiggins back without also requiring a pick attached to him, right? Do you think there are teams out there? I'm going to list some that could be potential prospects for a Wiggins trade partner. Do you want to go through this exercise real fast? And you can tell me.
Sure. I mean, you know, are you going to play? Are you going to pretend? I mean, Wiggins makes $22 million or 26
more than that. It's
million.
like 26, 27, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, you're going to have to find somebody who's making $24 million roughly,
or
somebody
make it
who's,
make it a 3-team deal so that then you could send him to the third partner and get Lowry back, right? That could be a part of the equation as well. I'll start with the Eastern Conference. There's 2 teams in the Atlantic Division that could be a trade partner. One of those is Brooklyn, right? They got Cam Johnson. They've got Dorian Finney-Smith. They've got Ben Simmons. They're going nowhere fast. They're tanking.
They make sense. That makes sense.
So that could be one.
Brooklyn definitely makes sense because especially with Cam Johnson, I think that would be very attractive to get Cam Johnson.
Yeah, and the one downside to that is Brooklyn's not going to give a pick back, but if you can convince someone to do a 3-teamer and that third team gives up a pick, now we're talking. So maybe let's say you get a third team involved, that third team wants Cam Johnson. Now maybe you can finagle getting a first-round pick for Wiggins, and you're getting Wiggins off the books, and Brooklyn wants Wiggins because they're trying to tank, right? So that's one potential. The Toronto Raptors are another potential team. It's Canada. It's home. Maybe that's a bad team. I don't know. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's all about it's about matching contracts. So like Bruce Brown works. You can trade Bruce Brown for Wiggins. I mean, I like some of the other players on that team too. I like Grady Dick from Kansas, who was a pretty good player in college. I like Davion Mitchell.
A lot. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, but I don't know that you're getting any of those guys. This would probably, if it was Toronto, it's probably Bruce Brown for Wiggins, and it's probably Bruce Brown for Wiggins and picks because Brown's got 1 year left and Wiggins has more than 1 year left, and that would be viewed as, you know, the Warriors would be getting an expiring contract for that money. So I think you'd probably have to attach a pick to get Bruce Brown.
Yeah, or get a third team involved, right? Who really wants Bruce Brown and is willing to give up a pick back to the Warriors, and then you send that pick to Utah. By the way, again, Larry, you and I are running a business here, and so anytime someone is actually spending money to get their chat highlighted, we're going right to it. Antonio Dos Santos Lau, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you so much for the donation. And Antonio is asking, has there been any updates on Rob Williams' knee? I'm very high on Rob Williams. I think he would be a fantastic fit for the Golden State Warriors. I brought his name up before. Antonio adds he would be great. He'd be a great fit if Lowry isn't available. I really think Jonathan.
He's by Portland, right? You're talking about Portland. Doesn't Portland own Robert Williams?
Correct. Yeah.
He makes 12.4, so you'd have to match him up with like a Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, you might have to get other pieces involved to make that happen. But Robert, I would love him on the Warriors. Again, I think he would be an excellent fit. Him and Trace Jackson Davis basically platooning the 5. I think it would be perfect. And then you just surround, whoever's out there, with the exception of Draymond Green, with hopefully shooters and offense. And I would love it. I would personally love it. Now, in terms of his health, I have not heard any updates on that. And I'm actually doing some research right now to see if there's any news on that. My understanding is he's going to be ready to play, though. Have you heard anything? Or
no, I haven't. But I mean, he's a big guy who's had some knee problems. That's always a concern. Always a concern.
It is. And this is where, though, and I'm going to piggyback off Antonio and add this: the magic of Rick Celebrini, man. That dude is a healer. I mean, the only player on the Warriors roster that he has not been able to work magic on was Chris Paul, but Chris Paul's injury was like a freak hand thing. Otherwise, I haven't seen any players missing extended periods of time under Rick Celebrini's tenure. The dude is a wizard when it comes to medicine and keeping players healthy. And if there's any team that Robert Williams I feel like could go to and be healthy and stay on the court, I mean, Otto Porter Jr. played a full season with Rick Celebrini as the guy. So I like the idea, man. But I can't find any updates. But what I've heard, what I've read, is Robert Williams III will be available for training camp in the start of the season. And Antonio, I love the idea. Larry, any final thoughts on Time Lord?
No, I mean, on who?
His nickname is Time Lord.
I mean, I like the idea of getting Robert Williams if he's healthy for sure.
Same. So Antonio, again, thank you so much. Yeah, Time Lord is his name, as weird as that sounds. And one more reminder, yes, Larry Krueger, last draft, you were big on Dick, and I don't blame you.
Yes, I was. I was very big on Dick.
All up on Dick. I'm totally totally with you. Okay, so
he's a good player. I mean, he knows how to play. He can shoot the ball. He's 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, he is, and he's a ball handler as well. Yeah, totally. Grady Big Dick. Loved it. Okay, so going back to the teams there. So we mentioned the Atlantic Division. In the Central Division, here are a few more teams I'm going to throw out at you. The Chicago Bulls, I would normally say they could be a candidate for Wiggins, but the Warriors turned down a deal of Wiggins for Zach LaVine, and where Chris Paul was going to be included as well. That's how low Zach LaVine's value is, man. No one wants that guy. Is that crazy to you? Like, that he's just untouchable?
Well, he just makes so much money, and it goes on for 3 years. I mean, he's making 43 this year, 46 next year, 49 the year after that on a player option, which he's going to buy into, right? He's got the player option for the 3rd year. So you got 3 years at huge money for a guy who's an above-the-rim player with chronic knee problems. Now, they're trying to move him. They're trying to move Vucevic. There's no market for either. You could trade Wiggins there for Vucevic and take back a Duarte or Javon Carter or, somebody like that to make the money work. That might not be bad. I mean, Vucevic is a 7-footer who can shoot the basketball. Javon Carter is a point guard who's really rugged defensively. And Duarte, we know Joe loves Duarte. I mean, I wonder, would Joe make that trade? Would he make Wiggins to Chicago for Vucevic and Duarte? I mean, to me, that would be almost a perfect deal. I mean,
I agree.
Duarte has got 1 year left, and then he's got a qualifying offer. So you get 2 years of Duarte, and you've got 2 years of Vucevic. And Vucevic is one of the better shooting big men in the NBA. This guy was an all-star.
Wholeheartedly agree with you. And the Warriors play a team defense, right? There was a great clip a week or two ago from Stephen Curry at the Team USA practice where you heard him calling out the string reference, right? Because that's Steve Kerr's defense. They played defense on a string as part of the team concept. And under that concept, I don't see why you can't add Vucevic, coach him to learn defense. Defense is a skill every player can actually attain. It is not something that some people just cannot understand. A lot of it is aggressiveness. A lot of it is playing under a team system. I don't see why you can't bring Vucevic in. And some people are just still like Douglas Mikes, man. Like, look at this. Douglas Mikes writes, I just think betting on Wiggins' upside is better than getting rid of him for scraps or a lateral move. I think the guy is set for a good year. Why would you think he's set for a good year? Like what? Like he's played 10 years in the NBA. He's had one good season. Why would you
know what he is? I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, this guy, talk about a guy that badly needs a change of scenery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that Wiggins can't play. He just badly needs a change of scenery. I'll tell you another team that I think makes sense is the Atlanta Hawks. I mean,
I'm going to get to them. I'm going to get to them.
Okay.
Real fast. Well, I want to mention, what would you think about Cleveland? Because Cleveland, in case the Lowry thing falls through, Jared Allen to me should be a target. Cleveland should be thinking about moving him because they have a logjam at the center position. They're
going to want picks though.
And what? Say again?
They're going to want Wiggins and picks. And then you're also going to have to take back. You're probably going to have to take back. I don't know, somebody, Dean Wade or somebody, Rubio, awesome, Sam Merrill.
Dean Wade would be awesome.
Niang, maybe George's Niang. I mean, you're gonna have to take back somebody because Jared Allen makes $20 million.
But you wouldn't. So, Larry, would you not trade Andrew Wiggins and a first rounder for Jared Allen?
I would, but I don't think it works on the cap because one guy makes $26 million, the other guy makes 20.
But as long as they match, it only has to be within 75%. So yeah. I think, and if not, you could throw in a veteran minimum in there to. You could throw in a Lindy Waters.
I think Cleveland's going to want more than Wiggins for Jared Allen. That'd be my guess.
So Wiggins at a first rounder would not be enough still?
Probably not. Probably not. That'd be my guess.
Would the Milwaukee Bucks be a potential place? Because
yes.
Brooke Lopez is reportedly still being floated out there. I mean, if he's a consolation prize, I wouldn't hate it. It wouldn't excite me, but I'd still take Brook Lopez for Wiggins.
I think if you're talking about a trade to Milwaukee, I think you're looking at Wiggins for Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton, something like that.
Yeah, no, Pat Connaughton would be awesome.
Pat Connaughton, who's a shooter, and Bobby Portis, who's a power player. Portis has got 12.5 this year, 13.4 next year on a player option. Connaughton has a 9.4 player option. So you basically taking on these guys for 2 years. But I think my guess is that it would be Portis and Connaughton.
Southeast Division has two teams, one being the Hawks you mentioned. The other one is the team that from my research and observation, is the team you always have to resort to if you're trying to pick on a team and get the most out of someone without giving much back. And that's the Washington Wizards. And that's where Kyle Kuzma would come into play. You're reuniting Andrew Wiggins with his buddy Jordan Poole. If you can do a Wiggins for Kuzma swap, sign me up. What are your thoughts on those two teams?
Well, okay, let's talk about Atlanta first. I think Atlanta's got the pieces to make this work. First of all, they got a bunch of pieces. So they're coming off a down year, and they got all kinds of concerns. I mean, are they going forward with Trae Young? I mean, they way overpaid for DeAndre Hunter. They just drafted the kid number 1, and then do they play him? And they've got it's kind of a weird roster. But I would say how about Wiggins for Bogdanovich and Larry Nance? Because
if Atlanta does that, sign me up. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean Bogdan makes 17.2. He's got this year and next year left, and then it's a team option. So you got Bogdan at 17.2 this year, 16 next year, and Nance makes 11.2 this year, and he's an expiring. And I love Nance. I mean, Nance is a glue piece. He's a tough guy. He's a runner. I think Nance is a really underrated player. To me, that right there is the best deal you could make. Because I think Bogdanovich has got a really high basketball IQ. I think in some ways he'd be a really nice piece to throw into the mix at the 2 guard and small forward spot. And then Nance is a 4-5 who's got a good attitude, runs the floor, rebounds, can block some shots. I like that would be the deal to me. So far, I like Bogdan and Nance for Wiggins. And if I got to throw in some future draft pick to make it all happen, I could do that too.
Well, yeah. And this discussion should reveal, hopefully, how complicated Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s job is right now. He's trying to make it work to get extra picks so he can then offer to Danny Ainge for Lauri Markkanen. And that part of it's not easy. It's doable. It's just not easy because you're going to probably have to get third teams involved, maybe a fourth team involved. Kev F in the chat, by the way, I owe you because you made a donation yesterday and I missed you until after the show. I apologize for that. Kev F in the chat writes, if there's nobody available now, just play the young guys, raise their draft stock, flip them at the deadline for the next disgruntled superstar. No more role players next to Stephen Curry. And again, that would require Steve Kerr to play them. That's been like just a massive point of consternation is the fact that Jonathan Kuminga last year was 7th on the team in minutes. Moses Moody, I don't even know where he was, probably 8th, 9th, 10th, who knows, but you have to actually play him. I'm with you. I like the idea and the philosophy. What are your thoughts, Larry?
Well, I mean, this Warrior team can't even decide what the hell they are.
Yeah.
I mean, are they a team that's going to play young guys to try to develop them so they can flip them? Are they the team that's desperate to get Steph a 5th ring and they want to get, veterans? It's like they want that guy they can pair with Steph, but they don't want to move Kuminga to get him. They don't want to move Pods. I mean, it's just they're in a weird spot. I mean, it's like they're trying to serve multiple masters. They're like trying to, win in the present, but then go with, I mean, it's been a weird situation. I mean, was it 2 years ago? They had 5 guys on opening night who were 22 or younger, and you had all Rollins and Baldwin and all those guys.
Yeah.
Mooney and Looney and Moody, and it's like, I mean, not Looney, but Moody and Kuminga. You had a bunch of young guys. I mean, really, really, really young, and then it's like, whoa, these guys are way too young. So, it'd be nice if they had a clear kind of game plan. And I think their game plan is clearly to go after Markkanen, and that Joe at this point is a little bit frustrated that Ainge is driving such a hard bargain.
Oh yeah, I could understand that frustration. And just wrapping it up here in the Western Conference, the Southeast Division, the Rockets, Grizzlies, and Spurs stuck out to me as potential trade targets for Wiggins. Any of them stick out to you?
Well, Houston's really intriguing for a lot of reasons, actually. I mean, Houston, do they have? I mean, the Warriors don't want Dylan Brooks, right? I mean,
no.
So I don't know. I don't know that Houston has pieces. I think Houston's kind of an interesting spot if they ever decided they wanted to move Steph, because you got Fred VanVleet making $40 million.
Wait, what? Wait, so take a step back. You just said move Steph?
I'm saying obviously the plan right now is to try to surround Steph Curry with a player that reopens his championship contention window.
Correct.
Right. But Steph doesn't have a year left. Steph has 5 years left.
You think?
And I would say.
Can I read you? So you missed this. So I said this on a recent show, Larry. I'm going to read this to you. This is one of my closest inside sources with the Warriors. He has provided me information that has, in a lot of instances, helped me break news stories. And he wrote this to me the other day. I read this on the show, and I'm going to say this again because I'd love to get your reaction to this. Hold on, but I now have to find the text message you sent me. So this is from an inside source of mine, and he wrote this about Stephen Curry. And he wrote, and I quote, I would bet, darn, I can't find it, but I'm gonna paraphrase. He said he would bet his salary, he would bet his career that Stephen Curry is going to retire at the end of his current contract. Like he has the utmost confidence that these last 2 years are it for Steph, and that if he doesn't agree to that contract extension, he's eligible for 1 year right now because of the over 38 rule, which basically says that if you're 38 or over, you can't sign anything more than a 3-year deal. Steph currently has 2 years on his contract, so he can only sign a 1-year extension. But yeah, my source is saying like he thinks this is it. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you like? Let's say hypothetically that's true. Like, how would you approach this season for the Warriors and just everything in general?
I mean, that he's got 2 years left.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're not trying. They're trying. It's just a matter of, can they do it? Can they put together a deal? I mean, can they put together a team that can contend? And I just don't. I'm skeptical. But like I'm taking, so my assumption is that Steph Curry's 36.
Correct.
I think he can play till he's 40. So I'm thinking 4 or 5 more years. He's in great shape. He's, these are long seasons, but okay, let's just say it was 3 years. That's too long to stay here losing. And that's, that's just, it's too long. If he had 1 year left, then fine. Do whatever you can do this year, do the best you can do. And that's it. But since he's going to have, I think, more like 3 years or 4 years left, I don't know. I mean, he said that he wants to be a Warrior and finish as a Warrior, but then he also said, things change quickly in the NBA. So,
yeah, and this was the quote.
I don't know. I don't know how he would feel. I mean, what do you think? If you ask Steph Curry, Steph, you can stay with the Warriors and win no more rings, or we can move you on to another team, and you will at least have a fighting chance to win a ring. What do you want to do?
Yeah, this is the line. I just want to read this first, verbatim. Quote: Steph is retiring at the end of this contract. I'd bet my salary on that. Unquote. And then I had a discussion with this person for a long time after that, because I read that and was like, what the hell? And they made good points, which is that Steph has nothing left to prove. He's not hungry to add to the legacy. I think the logic is that he's got a family. His kids are getting to that age where if he keeps playing at this point, it'll be like negligence toward the children. And that the hunger is not there to keep adding to the resume. Like, he's content. That's my understanding of it. And look, if he doesn't agree to that 1 year contract extension, I think that's a profound statement from Steph, right? I mean, to turn that down would be saying something. I don't know. What was your question though? You said,
well, I mean, it's Steph's call, right? I mean, I think we all know that, right? It's Steph's call. If Steph wants to do X, then he'll do X. If he wants to do Y, he'll do Y. So it's Steph's call. So I would just go to him and say, Steph, I think you got 3 or 4 more years of playing. We obviously love you. And we want you here. But we also, I'm trying to make the right kind of deal to take a player to put with you. And we're having a really, really hard time landing that player. So if we can't land that player, and to date, we have not been able to land that player, what do you want? Would you rather be a Warrior to the finish and have that on your resume? You started as a Warrior, you finished as a Warrior. We're totally there with you if you want to do that. Or would you rather us try to find you a home where you might be able to get that ring? It's like we feel like we owe it to you to, with everything you've done for us, we feel like we owe it to you to give you what you want, that you should be able to finish on terms that you want. What do you want? And find out, because maybe he's won his 4 rings and he's at peace and he's like, hey, you know what? I got 4 little kids and we're living here in the Bay and they all have lives. And now it's more about their lives. And I want to stay here. I don't want to interrupt their lives. Or maybe he's like, you know what? Me and my wife are dying to move to Charlotte, or, me and my wife are dying to live in our house in LA.
Yep.
And, then, and I would literally send him anywhere he wants for whatever price he wants. I think they owe him that. I really do. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I'm the same. I'm the exact
think they
same.
owe him.
I'm the exact same. He's earned whatever he wants from my perspective. Like he's reached that Joe Montana level of Bay Area sports greatness. He's a legend, man. Do you want to, by the way, do you want to hear from Steph? I'm speaking of, there's this clip I've been wanting to play, and I'd love to get your perspective on it, because the one thing I'm not certain about is when this clip aired. But Stephen Curry, or when this clip was recorded, I'm sorry, but Stephen Curry and his dad have a new podcast. And this clip just warms my cuckles, and I'll explain what I mean when we all hear it, because it's not the fact that, and you all can see the visual now, it's not the fact that he's so laid back in his broadcasting stature, where he's just laying on a couch and he's just, half awake. It's the context of Jonathan Kuminga and him playing together in a pickup game. And take a listen and let me know what you think.
That's easy. Okay.
Mine's easy. Mine's easy to play above the rim.
No doubt. That's easy.
I fantasize about it all the time. I'm 35 years old, 15 years in the league, and the rim of the court in my backyard, one of them's always on 8 feet. The other day, Jonathan Kuminga did something in our pickup game. I threw a backdoor alley-oop to him. I thought I threw it to the corner backboard. I was like, there's no way he can get it. And he would have got it. I got home that afternoon. Hey, throw it up there. Let me go get it back there. Let me just see what this feels like. Right. I just want to imagine if I could be up here on a 10-foot rim, what that feels like.
So awesome clip, right? But he said in the clip he's 35, and I don't know if he's just getting to that age where he forgets how old he is, or if they recorded that way back before March 14th, which is his birthday. But if this was this summer, and him and Jonathan Kuminga are playing together and working out together, and Kuminga's that committed where he's playing with his teammates in addition to all the off-court workouts to work on his dribbling, defense, passing. Dude, I'm buying up every piece of Kuminga stock, man. I'm already high on the kid. I'm going through the roof. What are your thoughts on that clip?
Well, okay, first, one, it was a great clip. Two, it just shows, the athleticism of Kuminga amazes even an NBA player like Steph. But I don't understand why anybody would even think of moving Jonathan Kuminga.
Crazy.
What are you, crazy? What who do you want to trade next? Young Shaq? Seriously. If you're that stupid, not you, of course, I'm not talking about you, but if anybody's that stupid that they think that trading a player as athletically gifted as Jonathan Kuminga at age 21, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why? It's like, I get the feeling when I watch Farhan Zaidi as the general manager of the Giants
Okay.
that
Sort of laugh.
he
That guy just
that
makes me
he
laugh.
doesn't make he makes a bunch of trades, but you notice he doesn't make hardly any big trades
Ever. Yeah.
they're always, I'll give you this donkey for that
Dink
donkey.
and dunk deals. Yes.
They're donkey deals. He does lots of donkey deals. Here, I'll give you our donkey. He just traded Austin Slater for a left-handed reliever named Alex Young. And today they DFA'd Alex Young, or they waived Alex Young. So, I mean, they just traded Slater and waived the guy they got for him. And he does those kinds of trades all the time. He's maddening as hell. I mean, it's maddening as hell to be a Giants fan because he just makes these. He's constantly rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, right? But I get the sense that Farhan is really smart in that he knows if you make a big trade is a real easy referendum on you as a general manager. Did you win that trade? Did you lose that trade? You're setting up kind of like a little bit of a benchmark for people to evaluate you. And so if you don't want to be evaluated and you just want to just be in the job and exist and as long as you can, then you probably don't want to make high profile trades because it gives people a thing that either said that you won or you lost and you're taking a risk, right? And if you lose enough big trades, you're probably fired. So that's kind of what I think, the Farhan deal is. They don't want to make trades, because they're easy to, and it's like, why would you ever trade a Kuminga from a basketball standpoint? He's getting worlds better. I mean, this guy is so much better at 21 than he was at 19. Just that alone, I don't want to move him because what's he going to be at 23?
Yeah.
He's not going to be in his prime till he's like 27. We've got like 2 cycles of growth between now and then. To say this guy is going to be really good, I don't think there's any doubt about that. The only question is he going to be really good like Gerald Wallace? Is he going to be really good like Kawhi Leonard? Is he going to be really good? Is he going to be really good like Jason Tatum? Is he going to be really good like Dominique Wilkins? I mean, this guy is uber crazy athletic. So,
well, and for the people in the chat, there's a few people in the chat worrying about his contract extension, and look, you don't have to worry about that till
pay him,
and
yeah, it's the NBA. Just pay. Why you wouldn't just pay him? Everybody's tradable,
but they don't have to. But my point, Larry, is you don't have to now. You can wait another year.
But I'm not even fearful of trading him because you could always find a match. There's always you find guys that you think, oh man, they signed that guy to a big ugly contract. He's untradeable. And then the guy gets traded like 5 times in his career. And it's like, well, wait a second. So you can trade a bad contract. I think getting like ownage of the players and having more players that you own their rights is more important than who cares if you paid a player $4 million too much. Who cares? I mean, there's so much money in the sport, and you can always find another team that's willing to give you their whatever player making whatever amount for your player. I mean, there's just lots of ways to get. I mean, we've seen it for years. The Lakers have done it. Other teams have done it. They make a bad signing, and they somehow find a way to divest themselves of it.
By the way, Butthead in the chat says if you check his stat line, I think you're referring to Curry. Okay, never mind. I want to one more team, by the way, before we move on from the Wiggins thing, because that's what we were talking about, the potential trade targets for Andrew Wiggins is Portland. The Portland Trailblazers are one last team that, in theory, and that's where maybe a Robert Williams trade. What about Larry? What are your thoughts on DeAndre Ayton, man? What if Portland came to the Warriors and was like, we'll give you him? Would you want him? I mean, it's a risk. The dude's a borderline head case. What are your thoughts on him?
I don't want him. I just feel like he's, he was the reason why things went south in Phoenix. I just think that I'm not a fan. I mean, he's a big, talented 7-footer, but he makes $34 million this year, 35 next year. I don't know. He's not my favorite. I'd much rather go for a trade involving Robert Williams and other pieces than DeAndre Ayton.
Absolutely. A couple comments in the chat as we wrap things up here that I want to get to real fast. Nick Chatsipalentelis, however you pronounce that, writes, I really want to know your opinion. Are the Warriors better off playing 2-way players And when you say two-way, you don't mean like G League / NBA. You mean offense / defense. Two-way players like the Celtics, or playing with a big like Trace Jackson Davis. Why can't you do both? I mean, the Celtics did play with a center, whether it was Al Horford, whether it was Kristaps Porzingis, not to mention the rest of their lineup. Their backcourt are 2 6'4", 6'5" guards who can play defense at the highest level. Your two wings are Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I mean, that roster, it's completely different. But
I like TJD though. TJD knows how to play.
I do too. Yes.
He knows how to play. He knows how to position his body. He knows how to hang out on the baseline for, dunks and layups. He can pass. I think his shot's improving. You're going to see a little bit of a face-up game. I think he's, I like Trace Jackson Davis.
Same. And for the people saying Time Lord, a.k.a. Robert Williams III, is injury prone, as we discussed earlier, have some faith in Rick Celebrini, man. Otto Porter Jr. was one of the most injury prone people on the planet before he came to the Warriors, was healthy the whole season, and then he left and never played again and retired. So I have faith in Celebrini, whatever his wizardry is. And one more thing in the chat. This is from Rave 12345 bringing up Brandon Ingram. My understanding is Brandon Ingram's experience with Team USA last summer, where he basically fell out of favor with Steve Kerr, wasn't even part of the rotation by the end of the FIBA run, is forebodes that he's not going to be a member of the Warriors, that the team has no interest in him. Your thoughts on Brandon Ingram?
Well, I like Ingram a lot, but there is some thought watching him that he kind of puts it on cruise control. He's an enormous talent who kind of plays on cruise control, and I think maybe that bothered Kerr, but I don't know the specifics of that. I like Brandon Ingram, though, and I think, he's thin, and there's always durability issues, but, man, he's an enormous talent. What a scorer. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, we're talking about different guys to pair next to Steph as a secondary scorer. He would be, in a lot of ways, one of their better options because he absolutely is a scorer, and he can score inside and outside.
Like 6'11", 6'10".
He's enormously talented. Too. Yeah, he's really, really, really skilled.
Do you have any?
I think he's underrated. I think
and I don't think it's going to happen again just because of what happened with Kerr, but who knows? I'm hearing him linked to one of the LA teams, and then our guy who was on our show earlier, SG Sports Talk. What's his name? Chardon. Wants to know, Larry, I talked about him a little bit yesterday. Daquan Plowden, the third two-way roster spot for the Warriors, filled up. Again, this kid played 5 full seasons in college, which is apparently the only reason why that was even possible is because of the pandemic. It gave a lot of college players an extra year of eligibility. Plowden used that, played 5 full seasons, and then played 2 years in the G League, and that's why he's going to be turning 26. But so far in the Summer League, he's been playing great ball. With that said, he's a two-way player. I mean, it's, I wouldn't expect him to magically turn things around for the Warriors. But Larry, do you have any thoughts on the new two-way player that the Warriors signed?
I like him. I mean, he's super athletic and he's got good size. Yeah. And I knew nothing about him. I never heard of him.
Same.
But man, he looks good. He looks good, and he looks like an exciting two-way player. Hey, one team that we didn't touch on, that I think might be a good fit, or at least they've got a piece that I really like, is Detroit. Has Jalen Duren,
and did they move him though?
Did they move him?
No. Do you think they would? Because I like him too. I just don't know.
I do think they would move him because they've got other bigs. I mean, they've got Isaiah Stewart. Don't they have another? They just drafted Bobby Clintman. I thought they had another big too.
If he's available, sign me up, dude. I think that kid has a potentially very bright future.
Well, you could take him and Tim Hardaway Jr. Would you take him and Tim Hardaway? I mean, Hardaway Jr. is an expiring. If you paired them together, I would trade Wiggins and a pick to get Hardaway Jr. and Jalen Duren. I just think Duren's he's nice, man. He's 6'11", 230. I mean, he can run the floor with he runs the floor with ease. He's a nice player to watch.
I agree. I totally agree, man.
We also didn't throw in Sacramento, but Sacramento's kind of interesting. I mean, they just added DeRozan, so I don't know if they need, but they're looking to move Herter, and Herter makes $16 million. And they've got some other pieces, on there that they could throw in the mix there.
And here's the only thing: when you bring up Kevin Huerter, I just go back to this graphic we were looking at. And do we need another one? I don't know, man. What do you like? What do you think?
Well, I mean,
do we need another one?
I think Huerter 2 years ago was good.
He was.
This last year he struggled, but here's the bottom line in the NBA. I really believe in this, and I don't know how you and I have never discussed this, so I don't know how you feel about this, but I just get a feeling sometimes that when rosters evolve and change because of draft picks and trades and whatnot, that just there oftentimes is like a player or two that really is a good player that just has grown a little stale and needs a change of scenery. And that's what Huerter is in Sac, and that's what Barnes was in Sac, and that's what Wiggins is with the Warriors. So Wiggins is still going to play well for somebody, and he may even be a borderline all-star for somebody. I'm pretty confident that Wiggins' body is going to be fine. He's got plenty of mileage. If he was a car, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's got low miles because he's got a frame that he's light and he can run up and down. He's got no injuries. He's healthy. He's got the ability to score. He's a borderline all-star. He can be a two-way player, but he badly needs a change of scenery. And I just think Huerter does too. And I know Huerter makes 16.8, and so that you'd have to figure out, it would have to be a Huerter and something. I'm not sure exactly what Alex Len or Keon Ellis or what, who else would be going, Trey Lyles or something. It would take something besides Huerter because the money doesn't quite work. But I'd be interested in that. I think Huerter in a lot of ways could do a lot of the things that Clay did and maybe do them a little better.
I mean, the only thing, my only pushback to that is, besides the fact that there's a logjam of that position, but Buddy Hield, it's a redundancy. Isn't Buddy Hield like the exact same type of player as Huerter? Or are you saying who cares? Give me two of them.
I'm just looking for a way to move off of
the Wiggins deal. Yeah.
Move off of Wiggins and move on to somebody that could be part of your rotation somehow. He's the one that's the one that comes to mind. The other one that comes to mind to me and the team that I think would be a good fit, and I brought this up before, but I'll bring it up again. Marcus Smart and Santi Aldama.
Santi Aldama, I'm on board with 100%.
I mean, you get a defender like Marcus Smart, and Marcus Smart can play a lot of different positions. Or you could go Marcus Smart and Brandon Clark. I know he's got some injuries, or Marcus Smart and Zaire Williams. But I like Santi Aldama as a big man who can shoot the ball, and you add a defender and a guy. I mean, you're basically trading a little bit more of an all-around player in Wiggins for two real defined role players. Smart's a defender. Aldama's a perimeter shooter. Aldama doesn't defend well. He doesn't rebound well, but he shoots the hell out of it. Smart is not a great shooter either, but man, he's clutch and he's intense and he's a good defender. To me, I'd be interested in that. I like Santi Aldama and I like Marcus Smart.
Well, you mentioned another name that I would want more than any of those guys on the Grizzlies, and that's Zaire Williams. But I don't know if he's available. I know there's some stories that came out a while ago. If he is, sign me up. I mean, the guy played at Stanford. He's a local product. He's a stretch big. I don't know why Memphis would trade him, but that question could be applied.
He's floated around He's floated around. This isn't his first stop.
No, it is. Zaire Williams was drafted by Memphis.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was in the same draft.
I could have sworn Zaire Williams was traded on draft night. Was he not?
Well, that might be true. I just thought he played for one team in his career.
You might be right. You might be right.
But if he's available,
he's all Memphis. All Memphis. Okay.
Sign me up. He's young. Again, he could shoot the three. He gives you I sign me up, man. I also like Santi Aldama. Marcus Smart, I don't hate that idea. I mean, DeAnthony Melton and him are like almost the exact same player. But I don't.
You'd have to. Marcus Smart makes 19. If you went with Zaire and Aldama makes 3.9. So let's just say 4. So Zaire and Aldama together make 10. So you'd have to have Brandon Clark in addition, who makes 12.
And he tore.
I like Brandon Clark. Do you like Brandon Clark?
No, I do. He tore his Achilles like a year and a half ago. Let me look that up. But no, he was. Dude, Brandon Clark was like the moment he went down, I feel like the Grizzlies' fortunes went with it. Like, and I know that sounds crazy given, all the other star players on that team, but Brandon Clark can play. And when he got hurt, that really messed up the Grizzlies' plans. So I don't know if he's healthy, but if he's ready to go again, but if he is, hell yeah, dude, bring him on, man. He would bring some toughness and size, and I don't think the Warriors have enough of that. I mean, if you're looking for someone who's also bringing some mental toughness to the game, someone who's going to be an enforcer type player again, which the Warriors I think are lacking in outside of Draymond, maybe Trace Jackson Davis, they don't really have that type of player, and it's obvious on a lot of nights. So, dude, Brandon.
I mean, if you look at this this Memphis team, the Warriors, if they were going to need a big, it would be a big that could shoot, right? That's why they wanted Quentin Post. Well, you look at Memphis. Memphis has Jaren Jackson. All right. They just drafted Zach Edey. So
that's right. Yeah, correct.
So they've got Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson. So in a lot of ways, Santi Aldama is just kind of lost in the shuffle there. But Santi Aldama is a nice shooter. I mean, really smooth, deep outside shot. So I would, to me, Santi Aldama would be a phenomenal Warrior. Dude, if you had Santi and Steph and Healed, you're now getting a collection of guys that can really, really shoot the ball from the perimeter. I mean, if you got Cam Johnson somehow as well, I mean, you could have just ridiculous shooting.
There are backup plans to Lauri Markkanen. You're absolutely right, dude.
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen's the headliner for sure. But like, if you told me that you came away, you couldn't get Lauri Markkanen, but you came away with a couple deals that netted you Santi Aldama and Cam Johnson, I feel great. I feel great.
100% agree. 100% agree. And we'll see what happens, man. Every Wednesday, noon, it's us. We're doing this all day, every day. Next week, I talked to your son, and we're working on a better layout for our show, so it doesn't just say Golden Days with your logo at the top right. So we'll clean that up.
Okay, we'll clean that
among
up.
many things. I'm going to redo the close of the show, so it includes your program as well. I haven't fixed that yet. I apologize.
No problem.
Otherwise,
baby steps.
Perry Olson is mentioning. Is the nickname White Boy Rick? Has that taken off yet for Ricky Pearsall, or is that
Slick Rick? Slick
Rick is the one. Is White Boy Rick too anti-PC? Is that why?
I don't know.
That's not taking off. Well, Slick Rick is. What are your thoughts on him, man? We'll finish up the show with Niners talk.
He only dropped 5 balls his entire college career, so that's pretty freaking amazing if you think about it. I mean, that's a great. I was doing some deep dives because training camp starts here in a week. Actually, it's already underway for the rookies, but Pearsall is an interesting guy. Only dropped 5 passes since the beginning of 2020. Now that's amazing. That's that 5 passes is the fewest drops of any wide receiver in any of the Power 5 conferences.
Wow.
With at least 200 targets. So, I mean, Ricky Pearsall has really, really great hands. When you watch him run, Cy, it's amazing. It's like his feet don't touch the ground. This guy literally floats. I mean, there's no, like, he's the opposite of Roger Craig, who had the high knee action. This guy just literally just hovers above the ground.
Wow.
He's amazing. He's got really good speed, unbelievable stop and start quickness, great hands. He really works at his ball skills. The one question I have, there's really 2 questions that define this entire thing for me. How tough is he? Because he does exist in the middle of the field, and there's a lot of hard hitting in the middle of the field. Is he tough enough to take a big hit and still run, all these routes with the same conviction? That's one. The other one is he's so quick that he gets separation. But then when you watch him get into like the length of the route, so like, let's say he gives a little juke at the line and he takes a step to his right, and now you take a step to your right and he loses you and he takes off and now he's 3-4 steps down the field. Well, you know what? Right there is where I'm concerned, because what I'm seeing when I watch his college films, I'm seeing a guy who gets unbelievable separation at the line of scrimmage, gets separation, and then loses separation down the field. So, like, he ran 4.41 for the stopwatch, and he's got great ball skills and great movement ability, great quickness. But my concern is just what kind of gears does he have? Like, if he beats you off the line of scrimmage and you're a corner and now you're in trail mode, are you constantly in trail mode, or 3 steps later have you eaten up his cushion because him running at full speed and you running at in trail from a trail position, you're faster than him and closing that space? That's the one thing. He looks like a guy who creates space, but when he gets into the length of his route, gives that same space that he created right back to the defensive back. So it's a nuanced thing for sure. But I would say I'm excited as hell about Pearsall, but let's pump the brakes on, get rid of Ayuk to create room for him, because Ayuk is a super strong, super long, explosive athlete who's, goes up in a crowd and picks balls off. I mean, he's just very, very physically dominant. This kid's not like that. So that's all I would say. It's like, I like him. I think he's going to be good, but he's not Ayuk.
And for all that nuance, that's where the Krug show comes in. That's where Golden Days comes in. We hopefully fill the nuance for you. Larry, love you, brother. Please promote everything that you have going on in your life, social media, programs. Take it away, sir.
My wife has told me that my new word is nuanced. So,
okay, all right. I love that word.
There you go.
All right.
So if I'm saying it too much, my wife agrees with you. He needs to.
It's like a crutch, like a verbal crutch.
It's my crutch. It's my verbal crutch. It's like nuance. But yeah, as far as the channel, I mean, we got close to 50,000 subs. Please hit like and subscribe. We're going to have all kinds of Niner content starting when Niner Camp begins. I'm going to have all kinds of big announcements coming up. Some that will be enormously surprising.
Really? Like in terms of co-hosts, or what are we talking? Like, what do you?
Just in terms of me, my career, what I'm doing, where I'm working, who I'm working with, what I'm doing, who I'm affiliated with.
Because if it's what I think it is,
there's all kinds of interesting developments coming down the Krug pike. So get ready for it. Get ready for it. But we're going to cover the Niners. We're going to cover the Niners like nobody else, because that's what we do, man. We'll be out there for every practice, every interview, every podium visit, everything. We'll do videos for every practice. We'll do live streams, lots of Niner talk. I mean, when Niner Camp begins next Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to want to be a regular on the Krug show, because we're blowing this thing out.
And I need people to know this, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, man. You're one of the good guys. All right. And I cannot root enough for the good guys of this world to actually achieve success, because that doesn't happen. That does not happen often. The wrong people, unfortunately, in more cases than not, end up being the ones that get the positions that are undeserved, that get the accolades, that achieve the success. No, you're one of the good guys, man. So every time you tell me good things are happening, it's the greatest news to me, because it tells me that there is some justice still in this world. So I'm stoked for that. I'm looking forward to whatever this announcement is. And people can follow you again on all social media platforms at Sports Larry K. It's super easy. Subscribe to the Krug show. Subscribe to Golden Days if you're listening to me on Krueger's show. I cover the Warriors primarily. Hope you love this program, and follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild, and I'm on Twitter at Surf Journalist. Otherwise, I think we're good. Anything else, man?
Chardal is asking you if you would please shave your beard and come on the next show clean shaven.
That's never happening. No, that's never happening. But good try. Good try. But no, that's I shave, like Larry, when I was your producer at KNBR, I used to shave throughout my 20s, and then around 30, I decided I'm going to try the beard, and I never went back, dude. I can't. It's you shave,
could.
Huh?
You could. I leave this unshaven, and I shave here and here. So
gotcha. Okay.
I like a little bit of chin fuzz, but what can I say?
Just whatever you're doing, keep doing.
Bacon and egg breakfast says Larry Curry's a toilet bug. All right, enough with the toilet bug.
And I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. So speaking of hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button, please do that for the Krug show and for Golden Days. And as the Hawk Tua girl said brilliantly, spit on that thing. You can never do that enough.
She's a celeb because of that.
Incredible, right? A phenom, no doubt. Otherwise, we're good, man. Anything else? Are we good? Are we done?
We're good, man. Enjoy a beautiful day in the East Bay. I think I'm going to hit the gym and maybe do some lifting. I'm trying to get a little bit more jacked. So if you see me at camp, I'm getting ready for, the fans who want to step up on me. I'm 54 with 4 kids, but guess what? I'm going to be jacked, and I'm going to be throwing around maybe 2 plates, 275. I'm trying to get back up to my lifting. I used to bench 225 regularly and get to like 275. And then, I haven't done that. And so that's the goal. See if at 54, I can get back up to, benching 275.
Bravo. You're looking good, man. And
Thanks, man.
Keep it going. And for everyone else, thank you. This close will next time, I promise, also incorporate the Krug show. But until then, we'll be back soon, folks. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.